What's going on, guys? Today we're here at Olympus Cards and Games with
Andrew Williams.
And what'd you do today, my man?
I played pure Kashtira. Went undefeated in Swiss and lost in top 8 because I'm a greedy son of a bitch. So.
All right, let's hop into the list.
Yeah, so starting off, we played 3 copies of Kashtira Fenrir. This card is very good. You should play 3 of it in your Kashtira deck. Play 2 copies of Kashtira Unicorn. Unfortunately, you can still only play 2 of this card. Then I'll go over the rest of them. 2 Rise Heart. I think the 1 is too few of it. I don't want to play Rhoda instead of playing 1, so I think you need to open 2. Worst comes to worst, it's a name that can extend. But I think a lot of the games you lose is when you see literally no cash cards. And then 1 Ogre. Ogre allows this deck to have another layer of its follow-up. It lets you search for Prep, which is like Prep Birth gives us like a lot of makes the inboard really difficult for decks to deal with. A lot of fair decks can't really keep up with the inboard when paired with other interruption. And also the effect to look at the opponent's top 5 means that you can know their draws. You have a lot of info about the opponent's decks. You can play like overall worse. Because you know what to negate and what not to negate, and then the 1 Scare Cash. But the reason why I even wanted to play this deck in the first place is because I was playing like a Horus deck, and there were boards where you just in on the Horus monsters, and they win the games by themselves. And these cards were really similar. Like Fenrir and Unicorn are both cards that like demand responses, and you basically just like bait out the cards and get into a simplified game state, and then the cash monsters win the games by themselves. And then 2 Diabell Star, we're playing a Diabell Star package. This card's also a level 7, so worst comes to worst, you can normal summon it. But we're not playing any like funny level 1 cards to summon off of the Sinful Spoils. We're just playing like interruptions instead. And then the best Kashtira card is Dimension Shifter. Yeah, for sure. Then 3 copies of Ash. I wanted to hand trap so I didn't lose to all these FTK decks. I considered cutting this card right before the event. The card was extremely mid. Like, I think that if it would have, like, cutting it down so I could play 41 and being able to access my engine more consistently was probably just overall a better choice. And that's it for the monsters. We're playing 3 planet for the spells and 1 terraforming, 4 planet. I mean, this card, I don't think there's much explanation needed, but the effect that gives everything attack is super relevant because it allows our deck to make Typhon over 3,000, which, when combined with Unicorn and Fenrir, like actually surprisingly seals up a lot of games. Then, 3 Theosis and 3 Birth. We're playing like pure cash, so these cards need to be maxed out. A lot of the games you unfortunately lose are when you open these with no cash monsters, but they're so insanely strong. Like this is an insane starter card. You can just like Unicorn into Theosis, Theosis into Fenrir, Fenrir get follow-up. And there are some decks that can't conceivably kill you through that board. And then Birth is insane. Like the quote-unquote like birth control strat that this deck has where your opponent just can't deal with the Birth, they can't deal with all your monsters, then Birth brings back a Unicorn or a Fenrir, and then you do the whole thing over again. If I was searching off Unicorn and I was unsure if my opponent would be able to protect my board, I would not, even if I already had a Birth, I would always search for a second Birth. I think like the Theosis plays into so much, while the Birth is just like so insane for your follow-up. And then we play 3 Wanted for the Diabell Star. And then the 1 quick play. So everyone was reading this all day. You target your Diabell Star, and it says that that monster is basically unaffected by other monsters' effects, and that drops the attack of all monsters in the opponent's field by the attack of the monster. If they hit 0, they die. So in theory, it's a Raigeki. I literally never activated this card the entire game. I set the other target for it. But in theory, for follow-up, it's really good. Then we play 3 copies of Prosperity, extra copies of all our starters, and then 2 talents. I wasn't sure if people were going to be playing hand traps or combo decks or board breakers, but this card's really strong when you have cards that they have to answer, like Unicorn, like Fenrir. And since we're playing like Typhon, being able to steal their monster and like slap a Typhon on top of it is really powerful when you're trying to break a board. And then we play the 1 Prep, another card that unfortunately is super bricky, but it allows you to summon a cache from hand or banish. It can summon the excuse monsters, and then if it activates a trap card effect, so like similar timing to Birth or the other Kashtiras, you get to look at their hand or rip a card from it. So against decks like Unchained or Tyr, since those are effects, you can like rip a card from their hand. And it's also just really insane follow-up this plus Birth. It's over 8,000. And then the Sinful Spoils negate. It's a hot red negate by sending a Diabell Star from your hand to your field to the grave. This is normally what I set because it's really good against board breakers, which is basically what the in board I was trying to make with Kashtira. Lost to 3 impermanence. It's the only hand trap that doesn't play in a talents besides Shifter. It's good for breaking boards, and then 3 skill drain. This deck doesn't lose to this card. You win a lot of games off this card, and your Kashtira monsters being big, and Birth and Prep being able to bring guys back every turn. It was 44 cards. I only really felt the 44 in top 8, but normally you just want to open like 1 Kashtira card, and then a ton of your like non-engine. Then for the extra deck, a lot of this doesn't matter because the Rise Heart isn't legal. So it's just a lot of stuff. 2 Sheng era. I never summoned the second one. I was banished off Prosperity. Dracosec can be used to make IP. Also adds Floodgates. Never came up once. Flare Metal is good for closing out games. Unironically, this deck has a problem dealing 8,000. Unicorn, Fenrir, and Scare Cash is only 75. So being able to make this does actually come up. Dark Armed, popped cards, banishes. I never summoned this. Big Eye is nuts. I summon this like all the time. Big Eye into Typhon's crazy. Speaking of Typhon, I play 2 of it. I think arguably you can play 3 of it because you use it to break a board. You summon the first one, and then a lot of the times your opponents will summon a Zeus to break your board, and then the second one's really good. And also there's like when you have like Fenrir Unicorn, all the decks can't. You just like steal all their Typhon outs, and you just play like Typhon control. And then Zeus, I never summoned this, but it's an excuse monster. We play the Odd Eyes package with Gravity Controller. So basically, this just makes any 2 level 7s goes into this in the extra monster zone. You link into this, which doesn't matter. When this is into the graveyard, you summon this, which is a vanilla, and then you slap this on top of this, and if this has an excuse monster as a material, it can attack 3 times. So it's 9,000 damage with any 2 level 7s. If people like, if it's just for like if you shifter somebody and they're going to and they just pass, it at least like threatens lethal by itself. And then we play IP and SP. Every SP with Unicorn and Fenrir feels like cheating, which is probably why they try to make you not do it because of the SS and Rise Heart. And then IP is fine. I think I made this once. I made this 3 or 4 times. I think you have to play this. I think it's still, unfortunately, too good not to play. And then the side deck, 3 Lava Golem. This is a card that this deck can play. It doesn't really suffer from it. And being able to like trade it and then you can Typhon bounce it and then do it again is very powerful. It also is a mandatory monster effect that your opponent does during their standby. So you can in theory Unicorn twice. 3 Droll allows you to play Shifter and Droll. So in the same thing going second, it doesn't matter if they conflict. You only need to open like one of them and they should hopefully pass. Pink is a 7. Literally came up 0 times. I never cited it in often, but I never saw it. 3 Di-Fi. The idea is that like it's just a very, very strong floodgate going first that you can try to Prosperity into. I didn't play like Summon Limit or anything. And it's really good against stuff like Labyrinth. It's something you can slam also going second against some decks like Tyr because it's like a pseudo shifter. And also you can't Diabell Star under Shifter, but you can Diabell Star send Dispel for Fisher. And when you can set like an Omni to protect your Fisher or your skill drain, it's really strong. Also, it allows you to like, it kind of plays around board breakers like Super Poly because a lot of times they wouldn't be banished, but yeah, obviously you get banished under this. And then 3 Eclipse. It's for like random stuff like Unchained. In theory, there are some Rescue Ace boards that this card can be. But I think that Cash, in theory, I thought that Cash would lose to a lot of the stuff that I didn't think anybody was going to play. And this card feels like it beats a lot of stuff. Then the third talent's to side in, siding out of the Raigeki Sinful Spoils card, and then the Snake Eye card that puts a card in the Spawn Trap Zone. I would side out of the normally I'd side out of the Omni and the Raigeki quick play, and I'd put in these two going second, because they have actual text on them. If I didn't just side out of the Diabell Star stuff altogether. And that is the list.
So I know you kind of went over why you chose to play the deck, but going forward, is there anything that you would actually change about the main deck?
Yeah, I really wanted to play Gin and Ken. I think like the way they interact with stuff like specifically Unicorn feels so powerful. I feel like it's kind of wrong to not try it. And I think that there's like a lot of things to try. Just people like dropped cash as soon as the Rise Heart got hit, and they haven't really thought about it ever since. So I think there's a lot of stuff to try. It just needs some attention for sure.
Any shout outs you want to make?
Yeah, shout out to my team, the Empire, and shout out to my car, Wes, Aaron, and D. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the deck profile, man, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.